There are over 2 million people in this country, and at a time, we all just need 0.00% of that population. And surely my reach is not your reach. Even on social media, we can be both on social media, but our reach is not the same. So there's absolutely no need to let that hold you back. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's a saturated market. According to who? How is it saturated when you are only trying to reach 12 or 10 people at a time?
Have you been dreaming of going to Paris, Zanzibar, Bali, Cape Town, Mozambique, but you just don't feel like going through the hustle of having to plan your own trip? Today, I have a solution for you. You don't have to do anything. All you need to do is give your money and Lazilia Travels will take care of all the logistics for you. Today, I'll be joined by Sister, the owner of Lazilia Travels. I'm your host, Sij, and this is Africa Speaks. Traveling, don't we all love to travel? But the hustle of having to do your own traveling, you know, the booking of flights, the booking of accommodation, everything. You just don't like that hustle. But today, I have a solution for you. I'm joined by Sister of Lazilia Travels, and she'll tell us more about how she started this business and how we can help you to actually just sit on your couch and let her do everything. Hi, Sister. Welcome to Africa Speaks. How are you?
Hi, Sage. Thank you for having me. I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you for accepting our invitation. Starting off, you know, with an icebreaker, I always like asking my guests, who are you? Who is Sister? Just in a nutshell, tell us who you are.
Just like my name, I'm everybody's sister. People don't actually believe that it's my name, but it's actually my first name, Sister, Sister.
Wow.
Yes, but I've recently changed it to Sis, with a dash, and then Star. So sis for sisterhood and star because I'm a star.
Oh, girl, look at you. Hey, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about why we're here. Lazilia Travels, tell me about the inspiration behind the business. But first of all, the name Lazilia. Why that name?
Lazilia is actually a combination of my parents' names. So Lazarus and Helia. Lazilia, yeah. So it's a combination of my parents' name. Thank you. I think the growth is because of the blessing. Yeah, but it started, or the inspiration was at the end of my honors. I stayed behind and I worked in our hostel. Yeah. And so what our university does is they rent out our hostel facilities to holiday makers. So while I was working there as a VEC assistant, there were all these big buses from Botswana, Durban, Joburg. So I was in Cape Town. And then I said to myself, I want to do something similar for Namibia when I get back home. And I got back home, I obviously didn't do anything because I was working a full-time job and just like starting a business. It's not the easiest of things. And also because of what I saw were the big buses. So then I also wanted to chase big numbers. But obviously that's not how it starts. You start small, small, small. So I let it go for like 2-3 years before I actually started.
And when did you actually start?
So I started in 2019. I don't know the exact date, but I know my first trip was end of April in 2019.
Okay, since you just talked about 2019 and then boom, the following year was COVID-19. COVID-19 being in the picture, how did that affect? Because, you know, people were not traveling. So how did that affect you in your business?
My base travelers were always Namibians. Okay. So I think when people always ask me this question, and it comes a lot, it's always, how did you juggle COVID? Yeah. But I was never reliant on foreign travelers. My travelers were always local travelers. It was just mainly locals out. So when COVID happened, all my travelers were still around, or well, my clients were still around. And because we couldn't go out, they still wanted to do things. So they were always like, yo, bro, can't you do something local for us? And that's when I started tapping into domestic tourism. And I mean, the prices were also very favorable at the time. We could go to lodges we couldn't afford that were, previously they were 10K per person per night. And you're just like, And then that went down to, let's say, heavily discounted. So everybody could afford to travel. So I started doing a lot of local travels. And then the business just grew in that period as well. I didn't really struggle during COVID. But that's because my base was always locals. So the locals were around and I had them. I could tap into that market because I had access to the market prior. So I just continued with that. I just changed it from Namibians out to Namibians in. Yeah.
Okay. For somebody who has no idea what you guys do, please explain to us, what exactly do you do? Because people think, are you a traveling agency? So what exactly does Lazilia Travels do?
I also can't differentiate between the terms. But basically, Lazilia Travels is a travel curation company. So we plan trips, and we plan trips in two different, okay, I divide them in two different groups. So it's a group trips. So the group trip is we arrange a trip from A to Z. So we plan a package, your flight or bus is sorted out, your accommodation, your activities, your food, everything. All you do is just pay your deposit and pay that off monthly. And on the day you rock up. You just rock up and with your bags, and that's all. You don't have to worry about any logistics, nothing at all. You just rock up and you go on a trip, and everything that's supposed to happen daily is sorted. You don't stress about anything. So that's one. That's a group trip. Yeah. And it's also very good. I always say the slogan is from strangers to friends. Yeah. And it's very suitable for, you know how we all have friends and then we all plan to travel and we start a WhatsApp group. And then, you know, you guys are 15 and then you end up being 10, next you're 5, next you're 2, then you're alone. Yeah. So it's really to curb that. Like, you don't have to struggle. Don't wait on your friends. You know, I always say, forget your friends, you'll meet your tribe. Because it really is what it is. And I know a lot of people ask me, oh yeah, but I'm alone. Can I join? I'm alone. Yes, it's for you that you are alone. Come meet your friends. And a lot of people are always afraid, but I'm alone. And I'm like, trust me, 70% or actually 80% of our group travelers are actually always alone. It's like you'll have 2 or 3 friends that are together or a couple here, but it's mostly solo travelers who just meet and it becomes like one big family. So that's the one part of the business. The other part is really we tailor make packages. So it's you and your boyfriend, it's you and your husband, it's you and your friends, it's you and your family. You want to go somewhere, but you want someone to arrange everything for you. So then we'll then book your flights for you, we'll book your accommodation for you, we'll arrange your airport transfers or your airport pickups and all of that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned that when you started it was just local. When did you branch out to now start going outside Namibia?
So when the trip started, so I started in Cape Town, and so I knew Cape Town. So when I first started, my first trip was to Cape Town. Okay, let's do some history. It was to Cape Town, and then after that year of just Cape Town, everybody else was like, okay, girl, we love the trip. Where to next? The question after every trip is always, okay, where to next? So I had to then bring in more destinations. So then the next destination was Zanzibar, your Balis, your Dubais. So it grows like that. I think what you're asking is when did I then branch out into getting non-local travelers, right? Into the country. My first clients were last year. So I had a client that I was planning a trip for, but it was during COVID. And obviously because of COVID, it was very unpredictable. So you couldn't travel. So then my first group of travelers with last year. So I had a couple from Israel. And then I had a group from Kenya. I think you've seen it. It was trending on social media, the Kenyan girlies that were in Namibia. So I planned that as well. And then, but prior to that, and then a lot of groups from South Africa. So it's this collaborative nature of the business. So because you're coming to Namibia, then I help you, I plan everything and you just bring your group and then, I make sure the groundwork is done. Something we do also when I go to another different country, I also reach out to travel operators, tour operators or agencies that can help me with the, the nitty-gritties and the small things. Yeah.
So for people like that are outside now, how do you market your business to the outsiders? How do they see it, like the ones now from Kenya, from Israel? How do they find out?
The African ones that do what I do, the small group trips and all of that for young professionals. It's really most of our clients are really young professionals. Yeah. It's through social media, Instagram actually. I think I've made so many connections. Like I've built a great network of other like-minded businesses, and it's all through a social Instagram DM. Hey girl, I want to bring a group to Namibia. Hey girl, I want to bring a group to Kenya. And that's how, the network has grown. So I have people all over. And that's how I find also my operators or people that I'm going to work with through social media. Awesome. Yeah. Outside of that, I think my foreign clients were mostly word of mouth. And then I used to have a website before it got hacked. Yeah.
So now it's just mostly
social media, but most of my business is really based on social media marketing.
So when you started Lazilia Travels in Namibia, how was the market for you? Were you guys a lot in this type of market when you started out, or
okay? So we all know
now to become many now.
Yeah,
the same thing.
Yeah. So obviously tourism was always big in Namibia. Namibia is big on tourism, so there were always your big players in the industry. but I didn't go for that type of market. Like, I didn't target their market. So everyone who does travel in Namibia either targets your foreign travelers, mainly your Germans, because I mean, that's like our big number. Yeah, so it's mainly them. And then then if you're trying to move away from the Germans, because that market is a bit saturated, there are a lot of companies who do that. They try to tap into either the French market, to try to be the first one there. But when I started, I didn't tap into that. I tapped into the domestic travelers. So I tapped into the locals. And at the time, I didn't see many of us.
Yeah.
But I think if you go on social media now, you'll see a lot of them. But when I started, it was just really me. But I've helped many people start as well. I've helped friends, or not really friends, they became friends afterwards who, you get retrenched. I know you're a traveler. And I say, no, look, start small and it grows. Yeah.
So you're starting this type of business. Does it require finances to start?
Let me think. I didn't really need financing because I didn't even have to register it when I started. Obviously, it's illegal. I did register before my first trip, but I think I could have gotten away with just organizing trips without having started. So I think that would have been your main cost, the registration of the company. But I mean, if you do it yourself through BIPA, it's actually cheap. But I'm not that girl. I pay for convenience, so I obviously pay someone to do it. So that was the only cost. What else? But anything else, if you're doing a group trip, when I started, I used to rent out cars. I used to, even the drivers, I used to use freelance drivers. I still use freelance drivers. I used to do everything myself. I was the accountant, the travel curator, everything. It was me,
Yeah.
So there wasn't really financing needed. It depends on how you structure it. If you plan a trip, you make sure that all the costs are included, except in marketing, social media marketing, when you promote your stuff, when you boost your posts. But you also don't have to start like that. I remember when I started, I did a quick survey, and I did a survey on WhatsApp. All I did was ask friends. I typed a message, and my question was, would you like to go to Cape Town for 3 days? For 3 nights, this and this included, how much are you willing to pay?
Yeah.
Please ask around. So I posted that and I shared it with people, and people sent me back their responses, and that was me. That was when I was like, oh, people are actually willing to pay more than I was thinking. Yeah, so that was like a quick survey, and you can start like that. You don't have to go like big. I think the challenge is always we think we need to go big when you actually start small and then it naturally grows.
You just spoke finances now that just your friends. So let's talk about maybe a trip to Cape Town. Like right now, on how much is it, an estimate?
So our trips to Cape Town are 6,580. Okay. That's with bus travel, accommodation, sea view accommodation for 3 nights, a breakfast, and some activities.
So in all the trips that you do, which one is the most famous one? That
Cape Town. Because it's cheap. I mean, if you go to Cape Town on a normal day by yourself, you wouldn't spend that much. You spend way more. Because Uber on its own will cost you a lot of money.
Yeah. And so you have buses that take these people. Are they your buses, or do you have like a bus operating company that you work with for?
So I used to do that. I used to just rent out from different companies, and then I got my own bus this year. It's like a big one.
Girl, you get a bus?
Girl, yeah.
Oh, girl, I like that. You're really a star.
Thank you. That's why my name is Sis-star. See, you get it now.
Yes.
You get it now, yeah.
No, now I get it now. But let's also, you kept mentioning, kept saying we. Who is we?
Oh, it's no. You always say we. You need to sound big. Even if you are alone, you are we. In fact, you are alone, but you're doing many things more, so you are we.
I bet you have a whole team behind you that is working with you.
No, I have a tour coordinator, travel coordinator. So she arranges all that stuff. So I plan the trips, but she's in charge of sending invoices, sending receipts, reminding people about payment, asking them for about extra activities, sending them trip information, and actually going on the trips. And then on other trips, I use freelancers mostly. So let's say you have a group that's coming from Germany, then you'd hire a tour guide to go with them and a driver to go with them. But I have like drivers that I already use. And then obviously you have, so even the bus, I also have a driver. I have 2, but they also freelance. Yeah, so you pay them per trip, and it's more money for them when they get paid per trip than when they get paid monthly.
Monthly basis. When these people are traveling, when your clients are traveling, do you send them with someone?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's either I go myself or the travel coordinator.
Yeah, because I was wondering, because I was going through your Instagram, of course, and seeing all these videos and pictures like in Zanzibar and everywhere. I'm like, takes the pictures
Oh,
of her? Is it does she ask the clients that please send me your pictures, or like how do you keep your page active? So
oh, we go. So we take the content, but only on the group trips. Also on the solo trips. So if it's a honeymoon, obviously we can't go. Or if it's just you, yeah. So the solo ones, no. The tailored ones we don't go. Yeah. But the group ones we go. Because that's what people pay for. You know, a lot of people are actually afraid. Like, people are actually afraid to go to an airport by themselves. Like, we would go on a trip we're at the airport, and the question is always, where are we going to next? And in my head, I'm always like, bro, read the signs so you can travel by yourself tomorrow. But no, some people don't want that at all. They don't want to think about logistics. They don't want to be in a foreign country and think, do I need to stamp my passport now? Where am I going to? They don't want to think about any of that. And that's what they pay for. And that's why you go on the trip, so they can bother you. Where's the toilet?
And what is like the furthest trip that you guys have gone out of Africa, like the furthest or the farthest?
As a group trip, we actually haven't, because we had to cancel them. We had to go to Bali. Oh, next week. Oh, hey.
So you're going, or you
No, we canceled it. We're moving it to next year. Flights are ridiculous, girl.
I can imagine.
Yeah, no, like it's not working anymore. So we had to, I gave them an option to either top up, and I don't like that, or to move it to next year, or to cancel and get a refund. And some actually opted to go to a different destination. So 4 of the ladies that were on the Bali trip have opted to go to Kenya, but on their own. But still, everything is arranged by us. So your flights, your accommodation, your airport transfers, your guide. So we also have local guides that we work with in different countries. So let's say you're not going on a group trip, we also have a local guide that can take care of you like we would take care of you. It's just some people with a group trip, they want to fly with you on the same plane. You must be together.
And let's say, because you spoke refund now, and maybe I changed my mind. I don't want to go anymore. How is your refund policy?
Terms and conditions apply, like everyone. So the deposit is non-refundable, and that is mainly because I'm now keeping a spot for you that somebody else could have taken, and you don't go, and some of these costs I still need to cover. So 1 person less in the bus, I still need to pay for fuel. How I work out the package is, the bus is, let's say, 30,000 to rent, fuel is 20K, it's 50K. Yeah. 50K divided by 25 people gives me your transport component of, let's say, 1,000. So if you can't go, I still need to cover, I still need to top up that 1,000 extra. So your deposit is really mainly to cover that. And then the deposit is always non-refundable. And then everything else is refundable until 2 months before the trip. And that's because by 2 months before the trip, we would have started committing already. We would have paid accommodation. The hotels would be on my neck like, hey, girl, we need our money. Yeah. And if you cancel now a day before, what am I supposed to do if I paid already? So somebody needs to recover that cost. And it's not me. So yeah, but mainly I'm very understanding. I think I'm mainly very understanding, and sometimes it has come to bite me. Yeah. Sometimes you understanding to people, and then you're like, you should have just stick to your terms and conditions because you've sent them out to people. Yeah. But many a times I'm just like, it's fine, I understand. Things happen that are not. Yeah. And also when it's return clients, you're just like, no, I understand why you would do that. Yeah.
And for people that are booking trips, like how many months in advance does one need to book their trip?
So it really depends, up to you. We try to release the trips at least a year in advance, or at least 10 months in advance, just to give you time. So we do flexible payment methods, and we understand travel is not really, it's not cheap, it's not expensive, it's relative. It's really based on how your planning is. So some people, you don't want to pay 6,000 at once, right? Yeah. But you can afford to pay 500 monthly. So we try to release our packages with at least 6 months in advance so that you have the time to pay. But it's up to you, really. You can book whenever. You can book, next year's packages are out. You can book today, or you can book in January. It's just up to you, and if there's still space.
And talking about, I want to talk about the challenges, because that's what every business faces. What are some of the challenges that you have faced, you as Lazilia Travels, whether with your clients or people you work with, like some of the challenges?
I think...
And what have you learned from those challenges?
So I think in terms of, I've used suppliers before that just don't give you the quality and the standard that you're looking for. And yeah, that was bad. And, I think it was last year, we had a group trip, and the bus transport company I used, they were just terrible. Like, when you take a mini bus and you're going to the north, those ones that pull your bags, it felt like that. I wanted the earth to open and swallow me because I'm just like, my clients don't pay for this. You don't pay to be treated like that. And they were treating you, and it was that type of vibe. And at that moment, obviously, your clients are not going to think, oh, ABC travel company, transport. They're going to think, I booked with Lazilia Travels. So I had to do remedial damage. I had to find another bus from Cape Town. It came to get us halfway in between. And that was obviously more money, but you get those challenges. But for me, I'd rather make that loss than have angry travelers. Oh, yeah, because it's not good, So it's those challenges when you just work with a supplier that just doesn't come to the party, and in many of those instances, it's really beyond your control. If there's anything you could do, you could have avoided it. And that was really partially why I got the bus, because I was like, I want to avoid working with third parties. And then this year, I had one recently where the clutch burnt. And obviously, a clutch isn't something that you can foresee. And so then again, I had to find transport again. And now these are drivers that I haven't worked with before. So if you can't even say to a guy, we pick up at 9 and then he'll rock up at 9:30. You don't know how to reach him if he doesn't answer your phone. So it's not, with my drivers, we've built a relationship. They understand my business and they know, like, sister wants things done this way and it needs to be done this way. And they care about the business as well. Because, it's a means of income for them as well. So they understand. So with your drivers, with your people, you guys have a good relationship. So when you have to use someone brand new out of nowhere, you just have very little control of many things. So yeah, that was also not a nice experience. And then there were very angry messages on the group. And I remember I felt bad. I had to get anxiety tablets just to deal with it. And I remember my friends, I was very stressed. And my friends just said to me, people will attack you because you're a small business. So as much as it was really beyond your control, and it has happened to me also, but people will now attack you because they know who to attack. If you imagine if Intercape has broken down, you don't know who to attack, right? So you would never go to the person and be like, yeah, what would it, and we did offer some type of some type of compensation, like we always do. We always give future discount vouchers and stuff, and we do that when things don't work out well, or when we think clients haven't had a great experience because of certain things, even though they're beyond our control. The messages were so angry, and my friend just said to me, and people will attack your character, and it has nothing to do with you. It's just because they know who to attack. And after that, I felt the same. Because I just thought of myself, if I was flying Namibia, and Fly Namibia loses my bag, and it happens all the time, your flight gets delayed all the time, who do you go to? Fly Namibia, just tell the story. Apologies, your flight has been delayed. My train was delayed for 4 hours in Barcelona, and I almost missed my flight back home. Do you know what that was going to cost me? All I had to think about and everyone was just like, no, sorry, there's nothing we can do. The only thing I was thinking of, my goodness, thank God I have travel insurance, because these things happen, but you have no one to who do you go to? So, but because you are a small business, or because people know who the owner is, it's very easy to sort of attack you, and then for you to sit down and feel like, yo, I'm messing up, this is the end of the business, too many bad things happening, but it's really not like that. So those are some of the challenges. And then things like flight prices just increasing ridiculously. Like right now, I remember a flight to Bali used to be 13K. A flight to Bali is now over 20K. Bali, out of all places. So I was like, nah. And then the package is priced at 21,000. So obviously, if you're paying 20,000 for a flight, you have $1,000. Then you pay for accommodation, food, activities. So it doesn't make sense. Financially, it doesn't make sense. And then obviously, your clients are they're very understanding, but obviously it's a disappointment because people book these things in January. So you're looking for, and we're tired. Year-end fatigue is real. We're tired. Now, 2 months before, you're being told, oh, sorry, hon, trip is off. We can't anymore. So those are the things. Those are the not nice things.
And what are the nice things?
The nice things, I think for me, especially with the group trips, I've gotten to meet really great people. I've made so many good friends. My dentist my client, was on my first trip. So it's just things like that. I think I've built a very great network. I've gotten to see destinations. I've seen how excited people are just to travel. I've seen how many people who've never left the country before, and they ask you really simple questions, and they're like, oh, Sim, you're so cute. They ask you questions, you're in your head, you're like, dude, no, that's common knowledge though. But to them it's, and then they always start with, I'm sorry to ask a lot, but it's really my first time, So you get people who really have never left the country, and then they get to leave the country and they have to have a very great experience, and the feedback is always so heartwarming. So I think for me, those are the nice things.
And which African countries do you guys go to, or is it like, does it depend on the clients?
It depends. So yeah, even Egypt, we had a trip to Egypt. We also had to cancel that because flights just didn't make sense. But yeah, but we've done Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, Tanzania, Mozambique. Oh yeah, Mozambique recently.
I want to take that one.
No, that one's nice. And then yeah, there's now Kenya, the ones that are going to Kenya. What else? Oh, and then South Africa,
The Cape Town.
yeah, Cape Town. It's like home now.
Yeah, like a baby.
Yeah, it's like maybe I don't even go on the trip anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like, I know that one. And sorry, I forgot my question. No, I got it. I wanted to ask, how many trips in a year do you guys do or take? How many groups? Like how many times in a year?
Oof.
Do you have trips?
Okay, so Zanzibar we have 3 for the year. Cape Town we have 3, 1, 2. We have 6, and initially we had only planned to have 4. We had planned to have 1 in April, 1 in August. So I try to target public holidays because leave days. Yeah. So we initially had 1 in April, 1 in August, 1 and 2 in December. So by the time we were on the April trip, August was already full. So then I used an influencer to go on the trip. She's amazing, Taimi.
I think I was going to say Taimi.
Yeah,
I saw you on Taimi.
Yes, Taimi, she's amazing. So Taimi went on the trip. And because Taimi went on the trip, her crowd was just, so everyone started asking, oh, when is the next one? We're like, just December. No, isn't there anyone close? 8 August, but it's full. So then we had to create one for end of September. And then December by the time people went in August, September was close to being full. December, the 2 were really, I think, full or like 2, 3 spaces left. And by the time we were in September, by the time we went to the October one, all the December trips were full. And people were like, we want to travel. So we had to create one for early December, the one that's on the 1st of December. So it's need-based. So sometimes it's, don't you, then you have to create. So that's how many? That's a total of 9. And then we had 1 to Victoria Falls, that's 10. And then we had 1 to Mozambique, that's 11. Where else? And then we had Bali, that was 12. It's now canceled. We had Bali, Dubai. Yeah, Bali, Dubai, that's 14. We had Egypt, that's 15. So I think roughly like 15 to 20. I think next year we have about 15 to 20 or more, I think, yeah.
And how many people per trip? Like, how many people do you take in?
So for some trips, we try to only have 15. Especially the ones where you're flying out and they're far, and then Cape Town, we have 25. Because with Cape Town, it's very easy to navigate. So as much as we go in a group, people still have a lot of me time. With other cities, you have to do things together. So try to have it at 15 to avoid group clashes. And it happens. Yeah, like some people just don't bring the energy.
And how has Lazilia Travels changed your life?
Let me think. So I started Lazilia so I work in construction. I'm a quantity surveyor. And when I started Lazilia, I worked on site. So it was one of those, it was just a hobby, really. It wasn't really to make money. It was I used to get, we have builders holidays in construction. So every December we close for a month. And because I worked on site, I got, every second month, I got 2 or 3 days off. So that's when I was like, okay, I'll do them during this time when I have days off. And so when I started, it wasn't really, I started with 2 trips. Actually, in fact, I just wanted 1 trip that year during the builder's holiday. And I advertised that December trip and everyone's like, oh, don't you have something earlier? Then I did one earlier in April.
Yeah.
And then people went in April, and those that went in April. So it's always like a word of mouth. People that went in April, they were posting on their status. They're like, oh my gosh, where did you go with that? Looks so much fun. And then people were asking, doesn't she have another one? Oh, she has one in December. And people were like, no, doesn't she have one earlier? Then I had to create an August one. So it started as something very small. Like I started with 12. Something very small, a hobby. I know Cape Town, I'm just doing this for fun. I'm also going to have fun, and I get to meet people and all of that. And then the business just grew organically. Like, I think it wasn't even because of me. I think it just naturally, it's a natural progression of the business. And I think I'd allowed it to, I think the success is also because I allowed it to grow when it needed to grow. I didn't force the growth. So, like a baby has a natural progression, and babies grow naturally in different ways. The one walks before they can speak, the one has teeth before they can do this, right? But it's never the same for two kids. And once, if you try to apply, for example, you can't buy teething gel for a child that doesn't have teeth yet. And so you can't compare what other businesses are doing before you are there. So you let it naturally progress. So that was with the business, it naturally progressed. So by the end of that year, end of 2019, I resigned. I resigned from work. And then I moved back to Cape Town to go do my master's. But that was COVID time. And also, why I really wanted to do the master's wasn't really because I wanted to go study, but because I wouldn't know how to tell my mother, oh no, I don't work anymore. Yeah, like, yes, but I wasn't take those things to heart. So I couldn't tell my mother, my parents, I don't work anymore, I'm just doing the business. Because my parents would be like, what are you doing? Like, can you be serious? Like, and then even out of all things to tell them, I'm doing a travel business, which is not related to what you studied. So the parents are going to be like, excuse, in whose house? So then I was like, okay, Shav, let me go do a master's, full-time, like that it's full-time. Because for me, school is easy. Yeah, so so the idea was, I'll do work, but really build the business. And then COVID happened. And obviously there was a lot of uncertainty. I had to cancel a lot of trips. But in the same way, I think the business grew more during that period. So yeah, the business grew, and I haven't gone back to work ever since. I wrote my board exams, then started my own quantity surveying company. And even with the quantity surveying company, when construction is not doing well, I think, you asked how did Lazilia change my life? I think I would have stressed being a quantity surveyor only, knowing construction is not doing well. I think I would have I would have been proper depressed. So right now I have Lazilia, or in that period when I started the QS company, I had Lazilia, and Lazilia literally, it pays for the bills, it's successful, and I like success. So if something is not being successful, I feel like, what am I doing with my life? Like, what's wrong with me and stuff of thing. So because Lazilia was there, it helped manage my emotions with my career. And so, it grew, and now it has grown to a point. The QS has picked up as well. Another QS has picked up. Lazilia is literally a baby. No, it's a grown child that can look after herself now. I don't need to be, like, at the beginning, people would be like, oh, I'm not going on the trip. And they'll be like, oh, really? Why? When the travel coordinator started, to them, it was weird that I'm not going. Oh, no, then I don't want to go. Like, and I didn't want the business to be about a certain phase. Like, I didn't want it to be, that's why it's Lazilia, not Sis-star Travel. Yeah, like, it mustn't be me. Like, a business needs to grow at a certain point and you bring in help, So I didn't want that to be. So it really helped me. I think it helped balance my emotions. And it also gave me, I built a really great network. I think I have good friends, I have good people around. And it kept me sane also.
That is so inspiring to hear. And talk to someone now who is like watching this, they're really inspired. They're like, I can't start. I'm afraid to start. They don't know where to start. Should they go ahead and start that business? Encourage somebody who has started but they are failing. So maybe you can talk to those people, those that want to start, and those that have started but they're not doing so well in their businesses.
Okay, I've mentioned you need to let a baby grow naturally. So you need to start small, that whole thing. Start where you are, start with what you have, and start, that one.
Yeah, that
one we all know, the basic one. So you really need to start with that. When I started, I still worked. So it was like it's just like side hustle. Then the side hustle become the main hustle. Yeah, but I think you just need to, the trick is in starting, really. That's the reality. If you don't start, you don't know. If you don't shoot, or you don't aim, you don't shoot, whatever. You don't hit if you don't shoot. So you need to start. And then start small and let the business grow organically. I think if you grow too fast when you're not ready for the growth, then you'll fall. And you'll fall very quickly. And also if you don't notice when it's time to grow, you'll also not succeed. And you always know. So a baby gives you sign when they are teething. And what do? You buy teething gel because they're going to cry, they're going to have diarrhea. The signs are always there. When a baby's starting to walk, you see they start touching everything. And when they start to walk, what do? You need to clear all those things that they're going to damage, So you always know. The signs are always there. And it's with the business as well. I knew I needed to get help when my clients would say, I sent you an email and you still haven't replied, and that's 2 days later. Then I knew you need somebody else to help you. I knew I needed to get an extra person when literally just it's the same issue again. Oh, we sent you an email, we didn't get a response. Oh, I'm still waiting for my receipt. We two hands, but we're still having that challenge. Oh, when are you releasing the packages? When is this? So you just know, like, you need to release. Even the bus, you knew you had to buy. Like, what was I doing buying a bus in 2019? You know? And some people think that way. You think you need to have it all figured out at the beginning when you don't have to. You know, like, you don't need to know, like, you don't need to have everything figured out. I think things get revealed to you as time goes. And I believe in God. And one thing I always believe in, you were alone when God gave you the vision. Something my friend always says to me, you know, you were alone when God gave you the vision. You were alone when God was speaking to you in your dreams alone. So only you really know what the end goal is. Only you really know the bigger picture. A lot of us don't know. Only you really know the bigger picture. And because God gave you that vision, he will always reveal things for you to make sure that that vision comes to life. But all these things, they take baby steps. Just like us, we didn't just wake up and we were like this. You know, we had to grow. And I think that's what you also have to do with a business. You start small and make sure you grow naturally. With my travel, the other company, it started very slow, you know, doing small things, wanting to give up, to really now doing big things. And you're just like, okay, you know. But I think it's also very important to sort of like set timelines for yourself. With Lazilia, I obviously can't advise because it's sort of like I was just bummed into entrepreneurship. It was like one of those things that just, it happened and then, it was like a good success, like a hit, right? But with the other one, I've learned, I remember I said to myself when I registered the company, I'll give myself 2 years to really get a certain level of projects. If I don't get it in 2 years, then I can feel like, okay, we are failing. Right? But it would have been unfair for me to just say, oh, I just started, where are the projects, I'm failing, right? So I think it's very important to just set the realistic timelines so that you know you don't burn your fingers. You're not inclined to give up when things are not going well. You're not inclined to feel like a failure when, you know, people say things about you, also about your business, then you're not inclined to do that. And when you don't see light because you're still in the tunnel, you're not inclined to think there isn't light at the end because it actually is there. So I think it's just what's important is just really knowing what you want. Obviously, the vision, you have it, writing it down, and then just knowing that things take time and things take baby steps. Like that thing is real. Like, don't expect to be Lazilia just today. And don't expect to get clients just today. Even me, we still struggle sometimes to get clients, you know? So, yeah. And don't think, no, Lazilia is already there. Like, I can't make it. No, my dear. I keep saying there are over 2 million people in this country. And at a time, we all just need 0.00% of that population. And surely my reach is not your reach. Even on social media, we can be both on social media, but our reach is not the same. So there's absolutely no need to let that hold you back. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's a saturated market. According to who? How is it saturated when you are only trying to reach 12 or 10 people at a time? So yeah, it's just basically go for it, start. Yeah.
Well, that's good advice. I'm just listening because I also have a company of my own. And just when you started saying, like, you know, you had to wait for 2 years. Mine has been, I think this is year 1.5 now. Not doing so good, but we are not giving up. We are just starting. And just hearing you talk, I'm like, you know what, I'm inspired to keep.
Yeah, no, you have to. I'm within my 2 years and I think I'm getting it now. And I remember a friend of mine used to say, you know, 2 years is also a long time. A lot can change. And a lot can change even within a month. A lot has changed for me in my other company in the last month, in October. I was just busy. Like, it's like you get busy, then you get another call, you get another email, and you're just like, oh, I know what's happening. You know, so I just think we must just allow things to naturally, like, organically grow, like, because it will grow. Just like we as human beings, we grow organically. We don't push growth. You don't pump your baby, like, no, go grow. You're 10 years old. They go through the stages. And it's the same with the business. I think we need to treat businesses like kids or whatever, and an organism, because it grows naturally. Yeah.
All right. So my final question to you is, where can we find you? People that want to book with Lazilia Travels, where can we find you? Socials, emails, whatever you are using for people to book you.
I'm joking. So we're on Instagram, Lazilia_Travels with the S at the end. Twitter, it's the same, at Lazilia Travels. Our email is info@laziliatravelscc.com. Where else? And then now on WhatsApp.
I think your WhatsApp number is
Our WhatsApp numbers on our Instagram, yeah.
On Instagram.
Yes, and on Facebook. Oh, yeah, there's Facebook. Oh, no, then there's Facebook. No, because Facebook clients don't come through. Facebook clients will just ask you, how much is the deposit? How much is this? Do I get my money back? Do you still have space? Every day, just asking me if I still have space. No, come on. So Facebook clients, yeah, but we're on Facebook too, for the Facebookers.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lazilia Travels. Sis-star.
Yes, with a star. Yes.
And we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Africa Speaks, and we'll be seeing you, I think, on the 1st.
Yes.
We will come through, like myself, I'll come through next year, definitely. I was eyeing the trip, I think is it Johannesburg, Mozambique?
Yes, Johannesburg. You know what they always say? Every time I go out and I meet people, they're always on some, oh, you're Lazilia Travels. I've been looking to come on the one trip. I'm just like, why are you lying?
No, I just discovered you.
Okay,
and I am
great.
Coming.
No, I trust you.
I am coming.
In you, I trust.
Yes, all right. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, folks, that's all we had for you today on Africa Speaks. I thank so much to Lazilia Travels, and please do book with them. Find them on Instagram, as you just mentioned, at Instagram handles. And follow us on YouTube, that'll be at Hannah TV, as well as on TikTok and Instagram, same handle. But from me, Switch and everyone right here, I'll be seeing you guys next time. Adios.